What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, I want to bring you guys another mock draft. I've done two already on the channel. One we picked from spot 11. The last one I just posted, we did from spot 7. So today, we're going to do from pick number 3. I just want to try from different perspectives of the draft. You never know where your draft order is going to be. You know, we do it random every year in my redraft league, so most of the time you have no idea. I'm really excited to do this. The market this year is really interesting for fantasy because it's so wide receiver driven. It's super heavy receivers, and running backs have fallen to the wayside. And I like that. I like drafting running backs, man. I think they're the most important pieces in fantasy football easily. But regardless, let's hop into it. So quickly, I just want to go through and look at our settings here. So we're going to do a half PPR league, 12 team. Let's see. Draft order or our team settings, roster settings will be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, and 5 bench spots. And then our draft order, I'm going to move myself up to 3, and we're good to go. I think we kick it off, and we'll start the draft. All right, so starting off the draft, we had Madden Cover Athlete, if you just didn't know about that, the new Madden Cover Athlete, so I don't know if that scares you at all, but Christian McCaffrey going off number 1, CeeDee Lamb number 2, and then we are on the board at pick number 3. And this is where it's tough, because with receivers going so early off the board, I don't want to miss an elite guy. By the time we get back to pick 210, I just don't think there's going to be really any receivers there that I'm super interested in as being my ones. I think we'll be in the range of like Nico Collins, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, and they're good. I don't want them as my ones. I can find other running backs later that I really, really like. So here, normally my pick would be Justin Jefferson, but the QB situation scares me. I love Jamar Chase, but I think Tyreek Hill is the safe play. He's just awesome. I mean, he's been completely elite. He is hitting his age 30. We'll click on it just to make sure. So he just hit age 30. So I don't know if that concerns you or scares you. I'm willing to let it ride for one more year. I'll go Tyreek Hill. All right. So then after Tyreek Hill went Justin Jefferson, Breece Hall, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Bijan Robinson, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka Nacua, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Marvin Harrison Jr., the rookie, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Kyron Williams, Sam Laporta, Drake London, Devon Achane, and then we are back to the boy. This is where it's a tough spot for me because I like Travis Etienne more than anything. God, I do. I think that kid is great, and I am so in on that pick. But I really want to try to secure and snag a receiver here that I really like in Brandon Aiyuk, and that's where I'm really stuck between because if I don't take Aiyuk, by the time we get back, even though it's only 4 picks, I'm worried that Nico Collins or Mike Evans will be gone as my wide receiver 2s, and I don't want to miss out on Travis Etienne. So that's where I'm really in a dilemma here. I really do like Aiyuk, and I'm kind of okay with any one of these 3 or 4 guys here being my RB1. So I think I'll take the risk, and I'll go Brandon Aiyuk. Start off with 2 receivers and kind of see what running backs we can get later in the draft. So I'll go Brandon Aiyuk. Next off the board went, that sucks. Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, Stephon Diggs, Travis Etienne, which hurts my soul. And then we are back on the board with, sadly, he went Travis Etienne. That was my pick. I was so for sure about it, but he went. So here we have the choice of Isaiah Pacheco, Derrick Henry. Those are the 2 guys I really consider here. I like Kenneth Walker, but I think we can maybe get him later. Receivers, we still have Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel, and a lot of talented guys here. What I'm tempted to do here is I kind of just want to experiment. I know I said I'd be happy taking one of these 2 guys, but man, I mean, Nico Collins and Mike Evans still being here really, really tempt me. I might just go Nico Collins, man. I think I'm gonna go Nico Collins. Just start off with 3 really solid receivers, and then I can backfill running backs later. I think that's the move. Let me know down below if you're in my pick. What would you do? Would you go with a running back? Would you go with, we can look at other positions too. I haven't even looked yet. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson are all there. I think it's too early to take one of those guys. I don't think it's worth taking a tight end either. I've never been a tight end early guy. So At this point, I would rather just take, I think I'm going to go, it's between Nico Collins and Mike Evans. And I think I would rather go Nico Collins because I trust CJ Stroud a little bit more than I do with Baker Mayfield. So I'll go Nico Collins. All right, so after Nico Collins went Travis Kelce, Malik Neighbors, Mike Evans, Derrick Henry, Michael Pittman, Deebo Samuel, CJ Stroud, DJ Moore, Jalen Hurts, Rachaad White, Isaiah Pacheco, Trey McBride, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Waddle, Patrick Mahomes, Devonta Smith, Cooper Kupp, Zay Flowers, and then we are back on the board. So here is another decision we have to make. We have a lot of running backs in a short window, though. These guys are going to fly off the board here, and I want to get one guy that I know will be my bell cow running back. And for me, that's between Joe Mixon and Kenneth Walker. I like James Cook. I really like Kenneth Walker, but at this point in our draft, I need Joe Mixon. I think because I'm just going to believe, well, actually, do I want to take 2 Houston Texans? That's a big issue as well. For that reason, I'll go Kenneth Walker. But if, say, we took Mike Evans instead of Nico Collins, I think Joe Mixon would be my pick here, strictly because Joe Mixon has really no competition. I like Dameon Pierce as a player, but he fell off last year and was not very good. They brought Joe Mixon in, and it feels like this backfield's all to himself. Kenneth Walker has the slim chance that Zach Charbonnet takes a big chunk out of that backfield and takes a lot of work. But I will take Kenneth Walker here because I think he's really talented. If you want to check out a video I actually just did of him, you can check it out up top. I'll put it there. But I'll go Kenneth Walker here, and then we'll see who comes back on the turn. Next went DK Metcalf, Dalton Kincaid, Joe Mixon, Mark Andrews, and then we are back on the board. So we have an option here as well. We could go with another receiver, and that way we're done. We don't have to touch receiver for the rest of the draft. We can draft 1 or 2 guys later. Or we could look at running backs because they're scarce. Or we can look at other positions as well. We do have some good guys with like Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, Evan Ingram, David Njoku, guys who have high potential, and even quarterbacks. We have Anthony Richardson, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Jordan Love. We have some guys with high upside. I'm not willing to take any of the 1Z positions or the specialty positions in quarterback or tight end this early. I would rather wait and draft kind of my starting lineup, then go for those guys. So with that, the guys I have here, I like Rhamondre Stevenson a lot, but I think it's early. I'm going to go James Cook. I think Cook has a chance to be the leader in that backfield. He proved to me last year that he was good enough to do it. And the touchdowns weren't there because Josh Allen ran for 15. I don't expect that to be a reoccurring theme with Josh Allen. He's really good. But is he 15 rushing touchdowns as a quarterback good? I say no. So I think we could definitely see some positive regression there with James Cook, and I think he can easily have a season, even if it's not 10 touchdowns, where he finishes with 6 to 8 and over 1,000 rushing yards. I'm good with that as my RB2. Next, we have Keenan Allen went off the board, Alvin Kamara, Tank Dell, George Pickens, James Conner, T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Kyle Pitts, DeAndre Swift, Rome Odunze, Terry McLaurin, Rashee Rice, Christian Kirk, Anthony Richardson, George Kittle, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, and Joe Burrow. That hurts because I really liked Joe Burrow, and I would have been very tempted to take him in the 6th round. I think that would have been a smash pick for me, but of course he went. So now we kind of have to look at the overall board. We are in the group of Rhamondre Stevenson, Tony Pollard, Najee Harris. So not a lot of proven guys left here at running back. And then we have the quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Jordan Love. A lot of guys here I like, so I'm not eager to take a quarterback early. In tight ends, we still have some guys I like left here as well. Evan Ingram, David Njoku, Jake Ferguson, Dallas Goedert. I'd be okay with any one of those guys being my starting tight end this year for fantasy football. And then we go to the receivers. It's getting thin quick, but there's not anyone I'm particularly targeting here. I think I'm just going to wait and I'll get my last running back in Rhamondre Stevenson. I think he's the guy this year. I really like Tony Pollard as well, but if Rhamondre Stevenson's still here, now I have an even split of 3 running backs, 3 receivers, and let's see who we can get back on the turn. So on the way back on the turn, Jordan Addison went, Xavier Worthy, Calvin Ridley, Jaden Reed, and now I'm back. I didn't think 4 straight receivers would go, so that's not awesome. But let's look and see who we can possibly get to be maybe a 4th receiver here. So here we have some options with Chris Godwin, who had a sneaky good season last year that I think people are really going to overlook. I mean, he had over 1,000 yards, only 2 touchdowns, which I think is pretty ridiculous. Hollywood Brown is in a great situation there in KC. DeAndre Hopkins is another year older, but looks like the number 1 in Tennessee. Ladd McConkey is kind of flying off draft boards. He was going way later before. Now he's starting to kind of rise in draft boards. Deontay Johnson at pick, 92. Yeah, there's some guys here I like. No one I'm particularly super interested in. So maybe now is the time to maybe go get my quarterback. We do have Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, and Jordan Love. 3 guys that I really like. But if we look at the teams who have a quarterback already that will draft after us, one that has a quarterback, 2 teams that don't. So we only have 3 teams in front of us that don't have a quarterback. Am I willing to take the risk that these 3 guys will get taken before my pick? In this situation, I'll say I'm not, and I'm going to go with Jordan Love. I just like the potential of Jordan Love. I think he's a really high upside guy. And as you can see, Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray went right off the board. So we definitely would not have gotten Jordan Love on the way back. And now the tight ends are starting to fly off the board. We have a lot of good players here that are going. So after my pick of Jordan Love went Hollywood Brown, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Chris Godwin, Najee Harris, Brock Bowers, Zamir White, Ladd McConkey, Evan Ingram, DeAndre Hopkins, Caleb Williams, Raheem Mostert, Tony Pollard, David Njoku, Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams, Jake Ferguson, Jonathan Brooks, and then now we are back on the board. So here we are, and now we're just kind of looking for anyone to fill out our roster. For starters, I think Deontay Johnson would be my pick here. Just someone who I know is a good player and can be the Adam Thielen, right? They drafted Xavier Legette, who I think is more of a big play receiver, a bigger possession guy down the field, where Deontay Johnson is more the underneath slot receiver guy. And I think Deontay Johnson could fill that role great. Bryce Young wasn't great last year, but maybe it works out for us. So I would take him, just someone who I'm trusting. I have more faith in him. We'll look at our roster real quick. We have the roster of Jordan Love, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Ayuk, Nico Collins. Our flex is Ramondre Stevenson, and we have Deontay Johnson on the bench. So we still need a tight end and then to fill out the rest of our bench. Here, we're only playing starting two running backs. I would still like to take another one just to be safe. There's a lot of receivers here that I think have potential a little bit down the board that I'm willing to kind of wait on. So tight end, I'll give it up. Like, I don't think it's worth drafting Dallas Goedert here right now. I need other guys. So let's go with Zach Moss. I like Zach Moss a lot. He could be our 4th running back. You might think that's ridiculous, but having 4 running backs is never a problem to have in fantasy football. And if you play fantasy football, you know that. So it's never a problem to have too many running backs. So after him went Jackson Smith-Njigba, Devin Singletary, Dallas Goedert, Keon Coleman, Trey Benson, Tajay Spears, Dalton Schultz, Christian Watson, Cortland Sutton, TJ Hawkinson, Tua, Gus Edwards, Brian Robinson, Cole Kmet, Romeo Doubs, Jameson Williams, Chase Brown, Jared Goff, and now we're back on the board. Now I'm just going to look at running backs, man, or receivers. And a lot of guys here have potential. And I think one guy that if he was still here, it'd be a Keon Coleman, but he got taken. So one guy I like is Khalil Shakir. He played well last year in the games that he got really a lot of run in. I mean, we'll see here, in near the end of the season, he put up numbers of, 3 for 45, 6 for 105, a 3 for 115, 6 for 92. So he had some games there. And if he can maybe just step in and be the one, why not take the shot? It's the 10th round. If it doesn't work out, hey man, it doesn't work out. And then we're back on the clock again. We could look at tight end here. I don't want to wait too much longer because I don't want to get stuck with one of these guys who do nothing. And here would be Pat Freiermuth for me. He had a really good sophomore campaign back in 2021 where he finished at, actually we'll put up his career stats. He finished at the tight end 8, nothing too crazy, but proved to me that he could be a decent player 800 receiving yards, I'll go for it. Just so I can solidify having a tight end that isn't a complete zero and a complete shot in the dark. At least I know that, hey, I've seen him do it once, and I'm cool with that. All right, so as we are nearing the end of our draft, this is our current roster here. We have Jordan Love, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Ayuk, Nico Collins, Pat Freiermuth, and Rhamondre Stevenson as our starters. And on our bench, we have Deontay Johnson, Zach Moss, Khalil Shakir, and then 2 bench spots. Here, I'm just looking for fun, and potential upside plays. So with this, I'll go receiver. I'll go one more time. And I've been taking him everywhere, and everyone thinks it's probably dumb. I'm going Quentin Johnston. The guy is a second round pick and was a 0 last year. So I don't even know if this kid's going to get drafted in fantasy leagues. I think it's worth the shot of him just stepping in and being the number 1 for Justin Herbert. What if he has a second year resurgence? We've seen players have a good second year after a bust rookie year. It's the last pick, second to last pick. Take the shot and go for it. I think we're good there. And then running back, I just don't even think it's worth taking a pick there. We already have Zach Moss or Rhamondre Stevenson. Overall players, if I wanted to, I'd probably look at like Ty Chandler or Jaleel McLaughlin are pretty good guys there, or Kamali Vidal could maybe be the running back. But we already have 4 running backs here. We could look at another quarterback if we wanted to, but I'm pretty set with Jordan Love as my guy. One guy I will like here is, Dontavian Wicks is very interesting. Michael Wilson, Jermaine Burton. I'm just going to take the shot on Burton. I thought he was a really talented player in college. I think T. Higgins stinks. Well, I don't think he stinks, but I think he's just kind of a baby. He never stays on the field. He's always injured. He's always battling something. He never wants to play consistently. Maybe Jermaine Burton could just be the slot weapon or prove that he's really good and step up and become the starter. Or, maybe they do something with T. Higgins. I know they just signed him to I believe the franchise tag, but I think he wants out. So maybe Jermaine Burton could just step in sometime during the season if we get a T. Higgins injury and just take over that job. So to round out our draft, we'll pull it up here. We finished with Jordan Love, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Ayuk, Nico Collins, Pat Freiermuth, Rhamondre Stevenson, Deontay Johnson, Zach Moss, Khalil Shakir, Quentin Johnston, and Jermaine Burton. I think that's a really good team. The bench I would say is a little weak. It's a lot of question marks, especially at receiver. But I think we have enough depth with our starters of just being awesome, where we have enough running back depth with, I think, Zach Moss or Rhamondre Stevenson can kind of fill in for that James Cook or Kenneth Walker if one of them gets hurt and doesn't really work, or maybe just doesn't work out, isn't great. Where our receivers are really foolproof, I believe. I really believe in those 3 guys in Tyreek Hill, Brandon Ayuk, Nico Collins. Jordan Love is a quarterback. He was the QB5 last year, so he had a good year. No reason he can't repeat it. And yeah, I think this is overall a good draft. Looking back, I think maybe the only thing I would have changed is right here instead of Brandon Ayuk. Maybe I would have went Travis Etienne just so I had a more bulletproof running back, because I still could have gotten Mike Evans or Michael Pittman or Deebo Samuel as my wide receiver 2 or 3. We could have gotten them. They went after us. So, or I could have just settled with, Nico Collins there, right? I could have got Nico Collins as my wide receiver 2. That would have been it, but I really do like the team, and I think that's going to be a pretty common strategy this year. Go really receiver heavy, and we'll figure out running back later. All right, and if you liked the video, leave a like down below. Comment what picks you liked, you didn't like. What moves would you have made instead in my situation? I really like to know. I like answering and kind of going back and forth with the community. So let me know down below what you would have done differently in this mock draft. If you want to see any of my other mock drafts, I'll have them popping up right above, or you can check out the whole entire playlist of fantasy football videos that I have for this year so far. And stay tuned. If you like the video, leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel for more content. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.